Hello, everyone. We are welcoming you to a special event tonight. This is our first Following in Faith, and we do this once a month. And today we're going to follow in faith with a program that we participate in. It's run through Pine Rest, and we've utilized it over the past several years. But we don't quite understand all the gifts of the program, and so tonight we've invited Joe to come and explain to us all the various things that we can utilize to better serve each other and to serve this community too. And so what we're going to do is we're going to open with prayer, and then we're going to turn it over to Joe, and she's going to help us understand this program a bit better. I will admit, we've had a fun live streaming day today, so we're praying that all of this will come together and that you'll be able to see this, whether you're watching right now as it's happening or later on at your convenience. But anyway, let's begin with a word of prayer. Lord, we come to you. We're grateful. We're grateful for how much you love us. We're grateful for how you put us in community. We're grateful for how you equip and you give gifts to people so that we might serve one another. And we hope that the time that we spend this evening will be time in which we understand how we might serve one another through this special program. So we pray for Joe, give her wisdom. We ask that you will allow her to speak what she needs to. We pray for those who are watching and right here in person. We pray that we will be blessed and benefit from this presentation so that it will actually play forward, that it will be part of our lives, part of our ministry. So we lift this up in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So, Joel, I'm going to invite you to come forward. You can start by right here. Warm welcome to First Church. You are our coordinator. We're so grateful. We've talked before, which was really helpful, and you opened my eyes to a number of things that I didn't quite realize. So our agenda is, Joe's going to explain this incredible resource that we have. There might be some questions that come from those who are watching in person, and I might have a few too, but I think we're thinking this might be around 45 minutes or so, just so you know what we're hoping to have happen. So I'll turn it over to you, and we'll trust that the Spirit will be working and that this will all come together, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Pastor. My name is Joe Carlson. I work for Pine Rest Community. And I would like to talk to you about your church assistance program. So this is a church assistance program that we provide to local churches. We also provide this to employers and to schools. So sometimes you'll see the material say EAP, CAP, and SAP, and we use those interchangeably. So today, I want to talk about your church assistance program. And on the screen, you can see the flyer. And we'll make sure that we have all of these available for every member in the church. And I'm kind of going to walk through the entire flyer. On the left-hand side, you're going to see all the different clinic locations that we have in West Michigan. We go as far north as Traverse City and as far south as St. Joe. So when we talk about a church assistance program, the primary thing we're offering is counseling. So with your church assistance program, you have 3 sessions of counseling that you can provide to any member in your church and everyone in their home. And I'm going to talk about what does that look like. Right now, the ways that we offer counseling are through teletherapy, where you do it through an electronic device. Could be a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer. Or we can do in-person counseling. So due to COVID, we've been closed for the last 18 months, and we're starting to open in a limited capacity. We have children who really like to talk to a person face-to-face, And we have elder folks who prefer to talk face-to-face, but we are offering both services to people. The service is free and it's confidential. It's paid for through the church. So what types of issues can be addressed? You will see some of the most common issues being marital, family, or relationship issues. It may be alcohol or substance use. What we are seeing a lot of is anxiety and depression. The pandemic hasn't been very nice in that regard. Legal or financial difficulties could be work-related issues, because let's face it, what happens at work doesn't always stay at work, and what happens at home doesn't always stay at home. It goes with us. And then the last one, very near and dear to my heart, is grief and loss, because no matter what happens in life, you will lose someone you love, and you will face grief and loss. So those are just some of the common things that we see people for. I'll address a lot of the other things that we see people for, but these are the ones that we tend to get the most calls for. The next section says, what is the cost to me? In any given year, you're given up to 3 sessions per episode of care. So in the mental health world, we call it per episode of care or course of treatment. If I say issue, it's just because that seems to be something that people can relate to better. There's no cost to you or anyone in your home. So my home is my husband and our 2 adult sons. Every other home might look different. It might be your children have left home and you're now in that phase where it's just husband and wife, or maybe it's a single parent with children, or maybe they have their mother-in-law living with them and it's a 3-generational home. You may even have foster kids in your home, or maybe you're raising your sister's children. Every home is different. And so we like to err on the side of generosity, and so we cover you and everyone in your home. That includes the teenagers who are away at college in another state, because that's just a temporary situation, okay? So what if a different problem arises after your covered sessions are used up? And what I like to do is give an example so that people understand what per episode of care might look like. So let's say today you seek counseling for 3 sessions for grief and loss. Someone you love has recently passed away and you obtain 3 sessions of counseling. 2 months down the road, let's say your child is being bullied in school. Like, that never happens, right? That's 3 separate sessions for a separate issue, right? So there's 3 more. So will your church be notified? The answer is yes and no. I am required to give the church a quarterly report that says there were 2 sessions in October, 3 in November, and maybe 1 in December. They know the number of appointments. Because they're paying for the service, they do need to know that the money they're spending is being utilized by the congregation. When I say no, that means that they don't see any names. I don't even have access to the names. So we just try to make sure that we report back to the church, you have X number of appointments in any given quarter. How do you make an appointment? You simply call the 2 phone numbers in the blue box. One is a toll-free number, and this is the number I recommend you put in your phone and you tell the teenager away at college. There's also a local number, and they take phone calls Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 in the morning till 9 at night. Now, we all know that's not when crisis happens sometimes, right? Sometimes it happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody's having a panic attack. You can call that 800 number and you can say, I have a church assistance program, my name is, and I'm experiencing a panic attack. Can someone call me back? And within 1 hour, a licensed counselor will return your call. So we have staff that are on a rotational schedule, that they respond to all those after hours calls within 1 hour. The key to getting all of that for free is to remember to say, I have a church assistance program with the First CRC of Grand Rapids. That's all you have to say. We don't give out membership cards, but if you can say that, you will get those 3 sessions for free. If you forget to say that, you're going to get a bill in the mail. And what went from being free and confidential is now a bill, and the way to get the bill resolved is to probably tell someone at the church. So now the church knows. So I try to remind people, always remember to say, I have a church assistance program. And from there, you will have all of that taken care of. Now, 2 things I want to make mention of. When you call the phone number to schedule counseling, if you are more comfortable speaking with a man, ask for a man. If you're more comfortable speaking with a woman, ask for a woman. If you're more comfortable speaking with a person of color, ask for a person of color. We want to make sure that no matter who we put you with, that it is someone that's in your comfort level and you're going to be actually confident talking to them. And if it's your child, you want to make sure who they're comfortable with, who they're most comfortable talking with. The other thing they will do is they will ask you for your insurance information. And the reason for that is you hope you only need 3 sessions of counseling. If you needed to go beyond 3 sessions of counseling, what we do from that very first phone call is make sure that we pair you up with someone who is participating with your insurance provider, so that at your very first appointment, and your second appointment, and your third appointment, you're already partnered up with someone who's in your insurance program. So if you needed to go to appointment number 4, 5, or 6, you stay with that same provider. You don't have to switch and tell your story all over again, and then they just bill your insurance on the backside at appointments 4 and beyond. Make sense? Okay. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask, because if you have a question, odds are someone else has a question too. Yes?
We don't have insurance, and then how can the bill be resolved if we make it a financial problem?
I can show you when we go to the website how to apply through our Patient Assistance Fund. So there's a money set aside, and we can work with your counselor to get money paid for that bill. Okay? Good question. Any other questions? Okay. We're going to go to the back side of the flyer. On the left-hand side, you're going to see legal consultation. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see elder care consultation. For the legal consultation, we partner with Rhodes McKee. They're a local law firm here in West Michigan, right here in Grand Rapids. And our partner is Tom Sachs. He is the managing partner that we work with. And if you were to call there and say, I have a church assistance program with First CRC of Grand Rapids, and I have a legal question pertaining to real estate, that automatically gets you 30 minutes for free. So some of the examples I like to give, it could be a landlord-tenant situation. It might even be you're getting a divorce. Maybe there's child support, custody situation, or maybe you're looking to sell property or purchase property. One that I heard recently was the neighbor's tree fell on my garage. Who's responsible? It's the neighbor's tree, but it's my garage. It's worth a 30-minute phone call for free. Now, with this partnership with Rhodes McKee, if you needed to go beyond that 30 minutes, you would get a 20% discount just for having a church assistance program with CRC. of Grand Rapids. Okay? And if Tom Sachs is not the person who can answer your question, he will refer you to one of the other partners in the law firm to take care of that for you. They resolve 90 to 95% of their legal questions on that very first phone call. And you can reach Tom Sachs by email at tlsachs@rhodesmckee.com. Again, just remember to say you have a church assistance program to get that 30 minutes for free. Any questions on that? Okay. On the right-hand side, you're going to see elder care consultation. And this is managed by Pine Rest. We have a geriatric unit. And we have two gals by the name of Cindy and Amy. And this is all they do all day long. They help people with understanding elder care. So a situation might be you're looking for senior housing for mom and dad. Or maybe you're needing hospice. It might be understanding Medicare or Medicaid or the spend down process. You could reach out and call that local number there and tell them that you have a church assistance program and this is the situation. You're not limited to 3 counseling sessions and you're not limited to 30 minutes. It's unlimited. So if you call today with one situation, let's say you get mom and dad into senior housing, and 8 months down the road, maybe you need hospice, or maybe it's Meals on Wheels, or there's other types of support services. It might be Alzheimer or dementia care services. You could reach back out to them, and they'll get on the call with you again and stay with you to help you get some support and resources. Any questions on elder care? Okay. On the far left-hand side of the flyer, down towards the bottom, there's going to be financial consultation. And very much like the legal, we've partnered with a CPA firm called Vanderlug, Mulder, DeVries, and Elders. And the primary person we work with there, his name is Dan Gruenveld. He is a licensed CPA. And he follows a lot of the Dave Ramsey principles. So if someone wanted financial advice, you're going to go to the expert. You're going to talk to somebody who is a licensed CPA. Dan isn't the type of person you're going to reach out to if you want a W-4 form, because you can Google that and download the forms. He's more of the person you're going to contact when, let's say you're selling real estate, and you need to know some of the tax implications. Or maybe a couple are getting married and they're coming into the marriage with a lot of student loan debt. They might want to consider renting versus buying until they've paid down that debt. But Dan is the person that you could call, say you have a church assistance program, and he's going to give you 30 minutes for free, just kind of walking through what that situation might be and what would be in your best interest. It comes down to taxes. It comes down to, knowing the implications and the laws, and that's what Dan is there for. He does give his phone number, and he gives his email. So you can email him or you can call him and tell him you have a church assistance program, and he'll get back with you. Any questions on that?
Does he help just kind of guide people as far as figuring out their income versus their outgoing? Like, does he help people just set up budgets?
He can help with budgets, yes.
Repeat the question so that they hear it on the live stream.
Okay. The question is, does he help people put together budgets? And the answer to that is yes. He can share information. He has several Excel spreadsheets and different things that he's worked with that he can share with people. He typically will email them to them, and then they can fill in the gaps. What is their monthly rent or their mortgage? What are their utilities? And they can work with it from there. So yes, Dan is very good with that kind of stuff. Any other questions? Yeah, so the question being, should you email or phone call him? What I tend to do is email. Then that way I've identified everything in the email, and then I give them a day or two to respond, and then if I don't get a response back, then I make a follow-up phone call. That's what I tend to do, because I might email outside the normal business day, might be at night I'm emailing, and they're in meetings a lot, so I give them some time to look through it, look through the tax codes, and then respond back. But if they don't respond quickly, then I might tap them with a phone call. But again, you have 3 sessions of counseling. You have 30 minutes of legal consultation, 30 minutes of financial consultation, and you have unlimited with elder care consultation. All part of a church assistance program at no cost to anyone in the congregation or anyone in their home. Any questions so far?
So 30 minutes goes by in a snap. Do they tell you up front what their fee is once the 31 minutes to the next 30 minutes is, so that you're not going to be surprised if your session goes for an hour and then all of a sudden you get a bill and it's still more than what you were expecting?
Yes, absolutely. So both of them, obviously, their time. Attorneys are on a billable hourly rate, and they're typically anywhere from $300 to $600 an hour. So once you hit that 30 minutes, yes, it flies back pretty quickly. Will they let you know? Yes. But most times, keep in mind, they can resolve that on that very first phone call. 90 to 95% of the time, they can resolve it on that first phone call. And if you email, you can put all that information in an email. It doesn't take 30 minutes to read that email, so it makes it go by a little better for them if you can put all the facts in that email. Another good question. They're pretty fair people. So the question I have been asked before is, how do they make money if they're doing all this for free? And from the legal consultation, Tom has shared with us that sometimes people will put together wills, and that's a lot more than a 30-minute phone call as a result of this. But if they can save 20% by working with their church assistance program, then that's why they will partner with him to do that. So he does get business out of this, but most of the time it's that 30-minute phone call that he's working with. Any other questions? Okay. One of the things I do want to mention before we switch over to the website is we also have a card. So all the information that's on this flyer is also on a card. Part of that's being married to a Marine. They don't tend to walk out of a HR's office with one of these flyers in their hand. So he suggested I come up with a card that maybe someone might feel more comfortable walking out of the church office or HR's office or a school principal's office. So we have a card that has the numbers for counseling, for legal, financial, elder care, as well as navigating to the website. Okay?
It says online library. Is that the website, or do you want to say something about that part of the...
So on the flyer, very good point, it does mention an online library. And I want to just mention to you that in the blue box, it gives you a website. It's pinerest.personaladvantage.com. And it will ask you for a company password. Now, the church has that password, and it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or all lowercase, but it is first CRCCAP. All one word, there's no separation, but you can go to that particular website, and I'm actually going to show you how to get to it from the Pine Rest website. But it comes with several videos. It comes with assessments, calculators, training catalog, all kinds of tools that you can go to for anything going on in your home. And I will navigate that, but that is also available to all church members and everyone in their home. Okay? So we're going to go over to the pinerest.org website, and that is the Pine Rest website. So from there, anybody in the world can access it. You don't have to have a church assistance program to access the pinerest.org website. And I'm not going to go through everything that's on the website, but I'm going to touch on some key things that would be very helpful for people. Under the Services tab, there's a drop-down menu, and you're going to see teletherapy. You're going to see Psychiatric Urgent Care Center. And I want to mention the Psychiatric Urgent Care Center because it too is part of your church assistance program. So let's say you needed counseling. You're going to call the 2 numbers that were on your flyer. But what if you have a situation where you just can't wait? Maybe you have a teenager in your home, or you have a teenager visiting your home. If you can go ahead and select that particular part of the website, I just want to show you, as you scroll down, you're going to see the services on the left-hand side and who we serve. So right now, we are only serving people who are 18 years and older. We're not serving children yet. That's something we're working on. But I really do applaud Pine Rest for this piece because they opened the urgent care clinic 2 years ago, and they're the first ones in the state of Michigan to open an urgent mental health clinic. So when you think about an urgent care clinic, you think about the weekend, your child gets hurt, you can't wait for a doctor appointment on Monday, might not need to go to the ER, but you can take them to an urgent care clinic, right? Well, why don't we have that same support service for mental health? That's what Pine Rest opened with their psychiatric urgent care clinic. So you can take someone in who may be experiencing symptoms for depression, anxiety, panic attacks, disturbing thoughts, suicidal thoughts, acute grief reactions, trouble managing just daily life activities, or substance use. You can take them into that clinic, tell them you have a church assistance program, and that counts as your first appointment. But you get seen the very same day. And they are open Monday through Friday from 10 in the morning to 8 at night. And then they're open Saturdays and Sundays from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. So they're not open very long on the weekend, but they are open for a 4-hour window. One of the other things I'd like to show you about this website, if you will scroll all the way to the very bottom, it doesn't matter where you are on this website. On the very bottom, it will identify for you on the far left, select language. And right now, the website is defaulted to the English language. But you can see on the far left, if you had someone in your congregation who preferred to speak Spanish or any other language, there are a lot of languages there that you can choose from, and it will convert the entire website over to that language. It doesn't matter where you are on the website to do that. If we go back up to the services, I just want to touch base real quick on that teletherapy one, the second one, because I mentioned earlier how for 18 months we've been shut down and everyone's been doing everything electronically. So it's through a smart device or it's through a tablet or a computer. Well, not everybody uses those things. So if you scroll down, what I'd like to do is make mention that even though it says request your first appointment and it gave you a toll-free number, we ask that you not do that because you're a church assistance program member and you get different privileges because this is for the general public. you have 2 phone numbers on your flyer, and we need you to call those numbers, okay? But as you scroll down, this will kind of just give you an idea of how to schedule your first appointment, what the first appointment guide is, what are some of the frequently asked questions. They go through all of this on that very first phone call. They make sure before you get off the phone with them that your electronic device, whatever it is set up so that when you speak with the counselor, there are no technological issues, just like we're having no technological issues tonight. So we do that on the very first phone call so that everything works, because not everybody is tech savvy. The other thing I like to show you is find a clinician. So up at the top, you're going to see the next toolbar. Here we go, find a clinician. So Pine Rest has hundreds of counselors in our network. And if you want to find someone specific to, let's say, a certain diagnosis, we can search for them. So if you wouldn't mind, let's scroll down. And right there, we're going to see search by. So we have the name. If you know the counselor's name that you're most comfortable with, you can type in their name. Or under specialty, if you select that down arrow, these are all the different things that Pine Rest sees people for. So it could be for anxiety or anger. It could be for autism. It could be for childhood behavior problems, codependency, eating, family, grieving, gambling. All kinds of things are identified here. Now you'll notice at the very bottom of the screen is all the counselors listed alphabetically by their last name. And if you want to learn anything more about that counselor, you just select Learn More. You can pick any one of them, and once you select Learn More, it will tell you where they went to college, where they did their internship, where they did their grad school, and it will also show you the clinics that they work in and the types of services that they provide. So let's go ahead and select one of those. And as you scroll down, you're going to see this particular person is a doctoral limited licensed psychologist, and her specialties are on the left. So she deals with anxiety disorders, grief and loss, PTSD, panic. Her location that she works out of is the Christian Counseling Center, and the patient ages. Sometimes that's really important because if you're looking for a counselor for a child, you want to make sure that they work with children. Or maybe you might want someone who works with older adults, who's experienced life in different ways. So this just kind of gives you an idea how to find a counselor or to find someone by their specialty. At the very top, there's an orange button called For Patients. And then there's financial assistance. Remember I talked about a patient assistance fund? So maybe you have someone in your church who doesn't have insurance. This is a place where they could go and they could fill out a form because they have to prove the need. Fill out the form, take it with them to their appointment with the counselor and say, I need patient assistance fund to help me pay my bill. Remember, you get the first 3 with the church. So this would be something that I would discuss with them early on, not wait till the end of that 3rd appointment. But I would discuss it early on so they can start getting that paperwork that they're going to need to prove the need and get it turned in. So hopefully by the 3rd appointment, they've got it all figured out, and they can move on to the 4th appointment. Okay? Did that answer your question on where to find it? It's at the top under For Patients. Now the other thing I want to show you is the Resources tab If you select that, underneath that, you're going to see some of like the top 5 or 6. Yes, Pine Rest is obviously, they put blogs together, they're in the news, they do videos. We've all seen a lot on how to cope with COVID-19 and events and publications. But maybe you have someone in your church who has a child with ADHD, or maybe someone who's dealing with anger or anxiety. I'm going to say, let's go look at anxiety. Let's go ahead and select that one. And as you scroll down, you're going to learn some things about anxiety. There is a booklet right there. Now, I'm a person who likes the booklet in my hand, but somebody might want to look at that booklet, and you can select Read Now, and it will open it, and I believe that is 20 pages of anxiety. So questions to ask before the teen goes to college, or common substances that can trigger anxiety, or how to recognize an anxiety disorder in older adults. So there's all kinds of information at your fingertips just by going online. And so here you go, you have 20 pages. Now we can go back from there, and we'll go back to the website. And when we go back to the website, what you can do is you could select a different one. Maybe you have grief and loss in your home, or maybe under that resources tab, you could find something else. Maybe substance abuse. 2021, we have seen substance abuse on the rise. We see it with our employers, we see it with churches, and we've heard about it in the schools. So maybe substance abuse. This would be something to look at too. The one thing about mental health is it's not discriminative. Doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter what your age group is, what nationality you are. Mental health impacts everyone. And when it impacts one person in the home, it impacts the whole home. So I like to just make mention that these are all the resources that you can access just by going to the pinerest.org website. Any questions that I can answer that I might have missed? No? Okay. I'm going to show you the backdoor way to get to the Personal Advantage online library that was on the back side of your church assistance flyer. So we're going to go back to services, and down towards the bottom you're going to see EAP and Crisis Response Services. If you select that, you're going to get a gray-blue toolbar. Under the gray-blue toolbar, you're also going to have products and services. Now you'll see a CAP in there, but at the very bottom, you're going to see Personal Advantage Library. And if you select that, you're going to be prompted for a company username, company password. Yours is First CRC CAP. And it doesn't matter if it's all lowercase, all uppercase, but it is all one word. This is the Personal Advantage Library, so I'm going to do my best to cover this in the next 5 or 10 minutes. You're going to see 4 boxes wide, and as you scroll down, there's going to be 4 boxes long with 2 more at the bottom. Now, I'm not going to hit all of these because this can be a little overwhelming, but I'm going to start with that green box called Calculators. Now, this is the part of life that I think everyone's faced with. We have to figure out budgeting. We have to figure out how to survive in life, and it's based on the money we bring in and how we spend it. So the first one featured is a home budget analysis. You'll see a mortgage payoff. I'm going to mention the student budget, and I'm going to mention the credit card debt. And the reason I mention that is because if you go to the next tab where it says most popular, they show up again. And if you go to the highest rated, they show up again. There's a theme here. And if you go to the last one, here's all the calculators available to you at your fingertips. So the biweekly payment for an auto loan, number 27, I'm gonna ask you to select that one because I personally did that one. If you select Open New Window, you can input data into this chart and it will tell you how much money you have to pay weekly instead of monthly towards a car payment. And you essentially can pay off your car early. I did. I paid off my car 6 months early by making payments every 7 days as opposed to every 30 days. Best feeling ever, paying off a car early. If you go back to the spreadsheet, the other thing you can do is there are so many calculators. So that one was just for an auto loan, paying off a car. Maybe you want to pay off a mortgage. Maybe you want to lease versus buy. There's something in here. Obviously, there's lots in here on the mortgage. But there's even a student budget in here. So there's over 100 calculators at your fingertips that you can go to just to see how to save money for your future or how to save money on a weekly basis. If we go up to the top and go to the back button, see where it says Home in the blue bar? You can always go to the Home and it'll take you back to the home page. So right here we have Training Center, the orange box. Say you want to develop some skills to make yourself a little bit more employable or maybe for a promotion. Here are 7 modules you can choose from. Doesn't matter which one you select, behind each box will be trainings that you can go through and you can complete. So let's go ahead and select communication. It will always identify for you the most popular, the next one being the highest rated, and the last one being all the courses available for communication. Depending on which one you select, it will pull up the training, and you can set up an individual account for yourself. So all the trainings you do are tracked to your username and your password. And you would just simply need to register here. I always recommend you write it down so you don't forget. If we go back to the home page, I'm going to skip around a little bit because this can be very overwhelming with this website. Let's go ahead and go to locators. So let's say you have children, and maybe you need to find daycare, or maybe you need to find tutoring. I'm not a science major, but maybe you need a tutor for your son or daughter in school, or maybe you need elder care services. Now remember, elder care services is part of your program, but you can also go here and you can look up, let's say, find hospice. So on the far left-hand side, if we select Find Hospice, once you select that, you would input a city, state, and zip code. And then you hit Submit. And this, because it defaults to 5 miles, you can see on the left-hand side it has 8 providers that are in that available for hospice. So it could be anywhere in the United States. So if you have your parents in another state, you could pull it up here by simply entering the city, state, and zip, and then hit Submit. Let's go ahead and select the home key. And I'm going to say there's recipes in the green box on the far right. I have to select recipes simply because sometimes you got to break up the mental health world a little bit, right? And food always helps. But with recipes, you can see that maybe you have someone in your home who's diabetic. Maybe someone needs low carb or low cholesterol, or maybe they're vegan. Doesn't matter what you select, you can find recipes in here for that particular food style. The other thing is you can even find canning in here. So you can do some canning, make some preserves and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good material in there. So this just kind of gives you an overview of what Personal Advantage can offer you. And let's say you can't find what you're looking for. If you scroll back up to the top, on the far right, there's a search bar. And let's say, this is a church, right? So everyone who comes to church, we're not all perfect. We're broken in some way or another, right? So maybe you have a person coming in who wants to quit smoking, but they can't kick it. You could type in smoking cessation, C-E-S-S, I think it's A-T-I-O-N, C-E-S-S. There you go, try that. Let's see what we get with that. Once you type in the words though and you select enter, what happens is it brings up everything it has on that particular topic. So maybe you have a teenager smoking at home, or maybe you have secondhand smoke or asthma and you want to find ways to quit. This will provide a lot of different things for you. The other thing is, if you can't find what you're looking for, just use that search feature. I've used it for a couple different things with clients, and it's always been very helpful. So that's your Personal Advantage website. So this is all offered to you through your church assistance program. You have 3 sessions of counseling. You have legal consultation, you have financial consultation, you have elder care, and you have access to this website. Again, all covered through the church. The way you get all the services for free is simply to say, I have a church assistance program with First CRC of Grand Rapids. Are there any questions that I haven't answered that you might have?
Are the training sessions free? Like for local thing, that's all free?
That is all free. Are the training sessions that are in the Personal Advantage free? Yes. So let's scroll back down to that again. And that'll be that orange box right there. So once you at the very top, that orange box, scroll up just a little bit more. There we go, training right there. So there's 7 modules. Okay? All of this is free. So we showed you the communication one. You could go to the professional development one, and there's 52 trainings in that one. You could go to the leadership one. So you'll see the most popular, the highest rated, and then you'll see all the courses. So let's go ahead, there we go, highest rated. And then all the courses pertaining to leadership. You have 30 different courses. Now let's face it, some of these are mostly tailored towards the employer. However, if you look at workplace diversity, why would that not be suitable for a church? Churches need diversity, schools need diversity. Or office politics, or managing projects, or managing disagreement, or managing change. Doesn't have to just be for an employer. It can be church-related or school-related. Absolutely. All of this is free. All you have to do is set up your own individual account with your own username and password, and it will track it for you. I have actually clients that are using a lot of the training for homeschooling because there's so much here. There's even some on budgeting in here and basic financial planning. So, good question. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for allowing me to spend time with you for an hour going through your church assistance program.
Joe, thank you. That was extremely helpful. And I often found myself saying, ooh, I didn't quite know that. And so you accomplished one of our goals, and I'm really grateful. The other person I'm extremely grateful for right now was Scott Vendrunen. So, Scott, you were right on with Joe navigating back there, and you did an incredible job. So, thank you, Scott. By the way, Scott normally runs the sound, and we struggled to find a projectionist to run the live stream. That's his first time for running live stream. And he's navigating the website and the flyer, and he's doing it very calm. And so I also want to thank Adam, Pastor Adam, for some advice here, and particular to John Whitty, who at about 6:03 is on the phone with us, trying to make sure everything fits together and works. So that was a team effort back there, and I'm grateful. In particular, Scott, for what you just did. Thank you guys for coming, and all of you for watching. That's a gift for us. And so if you have any other questions, we have access to Jo, certainly, and we can email her with other questions. But, hopefully, this will be a resource that our church will benefit from greatly, and it will help all of us deepen our community and help each other out. And so let's hope that that happens. So thank you, and you have a good evening. Clear.